Notts on top after 20 wickets tumble on day one. These two sides have had very different seasons. Nottinghamshire are riding high, nailed on favourites for promotion with just one defeat from 11. Leicestershire, meanwhile, are the LV County Championship's bottom side. Only Gloucestershire have a worse points tally, another side without a win this term. But despite the supposed mismatch on paper, it was the Foxes who made the first breakthrough, as Hamid out-caught at first slip off the bowling of Chris Wright. The hosts had only made it as far as 26 when they lost a second. Ben Slater the man to go, shouldering arms but hearing the death rattle behind him, bowled by Wright for 17. A bit of early concern for Notts, but Montgomery and Clark pushed the score beyond 50. Big boots to fill with Ben Duckett away on England's duty. They coped admirably, denying Leicestershire any further joy and putting together an important partnership, worth 50 when Clark tickled Parkinson around the corner for 4. That left the score at lunch 82 for 2, a good start from the Foxes, matched by an equally as impressive recovery from the hosts. Clark departed shortly after the break, outplaying across the line and trapped in front by Ed Barnes for 20. Montgomery took them to 100 runs with 4 off the bowling of Chris Wright. But he'd be stopped on 43, chipping a catch to Evans in the covers off Ed Barnes. And it didn't get much better. Lyndon James outcaught by Ackerman for Wright's third. The hosts were in a spot of bother, and they sank further into the mire. Tom Moores outcaught by Patel off the bowling of Roman Walker for 10. They limped their way past 150, but Leicestershire were still piling on the pressure, and it wouldn't be long before they had a 7th. Liam Patterson-White was the man to go, outfiring a catch back to Walker, who did well to get down to the tough chance. And Mullaney was soon following his partner, pinned in front by Barnes' low full toss for 21. Hutton added 8 before he too had to go, outcaught behind off Parkinson. Luke Fletcher and Dane Patterson tried to be stubborn with the innings heading towards its conclusion, and at the very least, the final wicket pair saw their side past 200. Patterson would be the final man to go. He was looking for a huge shot, but only found Louis Kimber. A first wicket in Leicestershire whites for Michael Finnan. Notts all out for 201. For a side that has been so effective this season, it was a hugely disappointing innings. Montgomery's 43 the top score, he one of just 3 batters to breach 20. It would have been a huge confidence boost though for struggling Leicestershire. They were led by Chris Wright, who finished with figures of 3 for 26. With dark skies overhead, Leicestershire strode out to get their innings started, but they lost a wicket early. Azad caught behind off Fletcher for 1, and he had another. Kimber out bowled for 6. Notts now enjoying their spell in the field. The big Notts bowler was in the groove and soon had Ackerman out for 2, caught by Hutton. There were 2 in the over. Patel lasted just 2 balls before he was pinned LBW for a duck. Fletcher with all 4 of the wickets to have fallen. Carnage reigned. Patterson getting in on the fun now. Swindles LBW for 1, hobbling away with the Leicestershire innings in tatters already. Evans took them past 50 with a boundary, follow-on avoided at the very least. They made it to 59 when Barnes went for 9, LBW to Hutton. And Walker followed, caught by James off Hutton, another man to depart without troubling the scorers. Parkinson would at least get off the mark before he was caught behind off Patterson for 1, his side still 30 away from 3 figures, now with just 2 wickets in hand. Wright was the next man to go without scoring, a simple catch chipped to Patterson-White off the bowling of Brett Hutton. There was enough time for Evans to go to his 50, scored off 71 balls. His innings an outlier, but the team's innings was almost at an end. And a few balls later, it was all over. Finnan shouldered arms. Patterson-White said thank you very much. And the Foxes were all out for 93. Evans with 50 was the only Foxes batter to breach double figures in an innings that had seen 3 ducks, 3 returns of just 1, and the second highest score was extras with 17. Fletcher had started the collapse. He finished with figures of 4 for 23. When Ben Slater faced the first ball of the day at 10:30 in the morning, he won't have expected to be back out there later in the day, but he and Hamid had 2 overs to navigate, and they did so with ease. 3 boundaries found, 15 runs on the board, and Notts lead up to 123 at the close. It had gone from delight to despair for the Foxes. They'd restricted the leading side in Division 2 to just 201, but had fallen apart when facing up to the hosts' attack. Nottinghamshire will be delighted. They will have been worried after their first innings, but the bowlers had pulled it back, and they'll surely now have designs on wrapping this up in double quick time.